What do you mean?
Always a player for the Phoenix.
No, it's a new one.
I've got a separate question. I know I'm gonna go with it. Yeah, I was kind of hoping you would be part of the DTG one. You can be an honorary. I'll put your name in my recap.
They may not let you through security.
Yeah, if you're a DT guy, they may not let
Apparently
you.
we're not allowed to be back here.
They got stopped at the door. They got held back at the door. And who was that? Who was that?
Yeah, because I heard y'all had a big time today. I was jealous.
Liability of tables.
Yeah.
We know that. Dangerous society. I feel it.
I went there at least 6 years from my kid.
I don't know. That's why I didn't know my days.
Just extremely proud of this football team. It is really hard to come out and you have your emotions so high, and you play a defensive series, you play 2 plays of offense, and then you got to go back in, and then you sit there, I think, for almost 2 hours, and then have to come out and respond. And that's what I thought we did. I thought we came out and played really well. We limited the run in a big way. That's where this team had taken steps, is to be able to stop the run. We were able to stop the run and, get after their quarterback. And then I thought we were able to throw the ball. We came in, they were going to play a lot of man free. We were going to take shots down the field. We felt like we had matchups that we really liked with Terrence Carter, who's just an absolute freak, number 7. He's as good as anybody in the country when you're talking about tight ends. And then with JC, made a just incredible catch on the sideline. And then we had to win outside, and I thought Caleb Douglas did that. And Coy won inside, and then Reggie, had some big plays. So I was really proud of our guys. I loved the effort. I loved the way they responded to a long rain delay. And, it's been a long time since, I haven't been 3-0 since I've been the head coach. So it's great to be 3-0, going into conference play, getting ready to play one of the best teams in the nation at their place. So with that, any questions?
Coach, what did this non-conference show you for this team in preparation for conference?
If we continue to grow, we have a really good football team. I think especially like the defensive line is exactly as advertised. I think Mac and Shield are exactly as advertised. They're really good play callers. They're really calm in the game. It's sideline is quite different, and so I think that it's impressive with those guys. So the things that we thought as far as who we could be, I think we are. We still got. I told them in the locker room, I think we have a whole nother gear. I think we could play better. I think we have more to offer whenever it comes to playing at a really higher level. And so that's the challenge that we've got to do this week going into Big 12 play.
And what did Bryce and the defense show you, and what do you think they still have yet to prove?
Well, we got to take 3. Garrett McGuire, coach, the other coach McGuire, one of the other coach McGuire said, I thought we were take 3, not take 2. We had 2 picks, and we didn't have 3 turnovers. But Bryce Pollock is really a guy that can go cover and lock down some people. I thought Balfour, who had Balfour had such a great camp, and then he gets hurt with an ankle sprain, and so he got back last week, and then you saw him play really well tonight. There is a lot of, if you go through there, I don't know how many snaps. I could tell y'all, on Monday how many snaps, but you're talking about a veteran defense. Like, the youngest guy on there is B.J. Jordan, and he's played all 3 years that he's been here at Texas Tech. And so you've got a lot of guys on that field that have played a ton of snaps. And then the last thing, I'm glad I'm right that John Curry's a pretty good football player.
Coach, do you have any concern that your team hasn't faced the type of adversity they'll face in Utah and so forth in Big 12?
No, not because I think we had some today. We've been in 2 rain delays. I don't know if I've been in 2 rain delays in my entire 31 years of coaching, and so we've had that. We had some bad snaps in the red zone tonight, and we had to respond to that. We throw an interception in the red zone, and then we turn around and intercept the ball. So it's interesting whenever you look at I thought we had some of that tonight and played really well. We'll find out. I think they're up for it. We're going to play a great football team. I think Utah's one of the best teams in the country, and they've got possibly the best offensive line in the country, and we're playing them at their place. I hear it's absolutely incredible environment. And so we'll have to face some adversity, but I think these guys will respond.
Did Amir Boyd serve an undisclosed 1-game suspension, or why did he not play tonight?
I have no comment on Amir Boyd. He didn't play tonight. I'll comment on anybody else that played tonight, but if they didn't play, then they didn't play. It's a good question, though.
Coach, you had talked about it multiple times, trying to get this offense and Baron Morton into a rhythm. With the type of passing game that he had today, how do you feel about him and the wide receivers heading into a big matchup next week?
Yeah, I feel really good. That was the key of him playing last week, and I thought he did a good job tonight. I know he'd want that interception back. I think he probably got on his back heels trying to throw it away, and he couldn't get it out of the back of the end zone. But I think he's in a really good rhythm. We've got a lot of weapons. We got 2 running backs that catch the ball really well out of the backfield that was a really featured tonight. We've got 2 tight ends that are really hard matchups on safeties and linebackers. And then, whenever you're looking at Reggie Coy and CD, they can really run. I think what you're seeing too is, Mac calls it scoring from afar, and we're much more explosive than what we have been, and so proud of Baron. I will tell you, I thought the offensive line, there was times we weren't clean, but there were times that Barron had forever to throw the football, and I think that was always the running joke with Graham Harrell. He never got hit, and that's what his offensive line said anyway, because, they protected so well. We had some of that tonight.
And then you touched on it a little bit there, but the way your defense was able to play against the run, you know how good Utah is running the football. How important was it just to have a performance like that as you head into a matchup against a team that is really prolific at running the football?
Yeah, it was huge, because if you go back and you watch, the running backs that they put in the game in the first 2 games, I mean, they ran the football well. I mean, their starter is a quality back, and there was just nowhere. I mean, there was nowhere to run. It just seemed like as soon as he got the ball and got anywhere close to the line of scrimmage, you had either Cofield or AJ or Lee or Skyler, they were meeting him in the backfield. And so we're going to have to do a really good job at stopping the run. And, what comes into account next week is you've got a quarterback that can really run the football. So we've got to do a good job of having a game plan to, limit his yardage running.
Going to special teams, specifically on that punt return, we kind of saw Oregon State come out in that funky
Yeah.
formation a couple times. Is that something that y'all saw pregame, and how do you think you adjusted to it in the game?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, I don't know if we blocked the one. It was close, so we'll have to see. We put pressure on them. We got good field position. They're starting deep snapper broke his hand week 1. And if you saw last week, I mean, they should have beat Fresno State, and they had like 4 bad snaps. So they kept their center in, their starting center to snap that ball. And so he wasn't as far back. And, I mean, I thought, besides that last punt where we really got off, we pressured him.
Hey, Coach, when we spoke earlier this week, you made it a big point of emphasis for the running backs to be a little bit more patient whenever they got the ball, not to get too far ahead of themselves. How do you feel that the football team or the running back group did tonight is being patient and, letting the lanes open up for them?
Yeah, I thought they had some good runs, some good positive runs, physical. I thought Cam really got behind his pads. I'm anxious to see the film, that how we ran the football. We did feel like that our running backs, if we could hold up in the passing game as far as protecting Barron, then we were going to give them a really hard matchup in all of our releases, any routes by the running backs. I think that's why you saw Jacoby so productive tonight. But I was proud of those guys. They did a good job. You got 2 physical backs. You got one that weighs 215 and one weighs 185, and they're both really physical guys.
Talking about the offensive line, how do you feel the offensive line is playing as a complete unit right now with the 5 that you've started? And are you planning on potentially making any changes going into Utah next week?
Yeah, disappointing. Hunter Zambrano before the game, we're thinking it was food poisoning. He's feeling a lot better, but, he was throwing up. He didn't get to play tonight, and we were planning on playing him at right tackle and left guard. And you kind of early in the game, kind of move him around. We feel like he's a guy that can really help us. But I feel good about the 5 guys. The young one is a right tackle, Jacob Ponton, and he's growing up. But I think as a whole, they've played well. It would have been good. That's the disappointing thing with him getting sick. Is it would have been good because we need him to get some reps because he's finally, healthy, and he's another guy that's an older guy, and he's a guy that can play. DC could play center, so he could play guard, and then he could also play tackle. We played when Howard started cramping. We played Will Jados at left tackle, and I mean that's where he started his whole career. So we feel like we've got some good pieces to move around depth-wise.
To kind of piggyback off the running back room, I noticed midway through the third, 22 carries for 25 yards out of the running back room. Not maybe the explosiveness that you guys have seen the first 2 weeks. How are you guys hoping to get back to that, going into a next week against Utah to use, both sides of passing and running the ball effectively?
Well, it'd be interesting whenever we finally get the actual stats all straightened out, because that's a stat. Like, there's a couple stats that are very, like, Romello has a sack, I don't think it's recorded. Cole, I think, has a sack. I don't think it's recorded. David Bailey has a sack. It was recorded. I really don't, the whole deal. Now, I know we had a couple of sacks, you factor that in, but I don't think whenever you finally see the final stats of how many yards we actually rushed for, that it wasn't, 25 yards. You know what I'm saying? So I think some of that is, did we add the penalty in? I think we had a grounding penalty. We had two penalties. Like, there was 2 times we had back-to-back penalties that are assessed on the same play.
Joe, you said a moment ago, you said your sideline is different this year. In what way is your sideline different?
And, so whenever you're Mac is just like this. He never shows emotion unless we score, and then he's going to pump his fist. But he's really calm. He's very analytical. And if you come into our pregame, Shield's going to show a lot of emotion. Sometimes I just want to go, yeah, exactly what he said. He's pretty. It's good stuff. I get fired up, but he's also they're both so analytical, and I kind of describe it as A to B to C. Like, there's nothing that affects them up and down like that, and so they're thinking through the game, and because they're like that, you're getting to other coaches, like, they talk about it all the time. Like, one thing that I would hear at different times throughout my career, not just here, is it's almost like the people in the box are commentating the game. You don't have any of that because Mac and Shield are very specific about what they want to know from the box, and it is almost like robots from the box.
And you mentioned a moment ago also, Coach Leftwich calling it scoring from afar.
Yeah.
What will need to happen the rest of the way for y'all to continue to score from afar as much as you have been?
Yeah, I think it's really, it's one of those deals because, Utah is known for their defense. Morgan Scally is their defense coordinator. He is special. I have a great respect for him. If they've offered a DB, you better evaluate him. He's one of the best defensive back evaluators I've ever been around. So we're going to have a work cut out for us. But to score from afar, you have to win your one-on-one. When you're matched up and your number's called and you're the first read, then we want to win that first read. And, it's like we got that a couple times tonight with Coy and with CD.
Which to follow up on that, obviously, your offensive line, your receivers, your quarterback all play a part in it.
Yes, sir.
Is there any one of those 3 elements that you feel like needs to make the most improvement to?
No, I think it's a good question because I think we're kind of like what I said earlier. I do think we've got a really good football team, but I don't think we've come close to how good we can be, and so we're just going to try to keep building every single week and challenge these guys, and they feel it too. I'm standing on the sideline with Lee Hunter and Romello, and they're got their hands on my shoulder going, Coach, we're really good. Let's don't miss this opportunity, and so when you got old guys that are talking that away, then you got a chance to be really good.
Just one quick one. Is there any concern with Terrence Carter after he came out with a shoulder?
No, thought it was a stinger. It's nothing like as far as dislocation or anything like that. It's more like AC, and that's just, they're very painful. It's just right here. We feel good about it. We'd have taken him in and done some stuff to the shoulder and padded it up. If I said, hey, there's no reason to put him back in. It's 45-0, I think, at that point. So feel good. It's kind of one of those injuries that you find out really kind of how tough you are because you could play with it. It just doesn't feel good.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank y'all.
Baron, what did you see tonight from the defense, and how did it challenge you?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good feeling for, just to see it, adversity. This is the first time we kind of got punched in the mouth too. I thought we just responded well. I thought we moved the ball well. But it was good to see. I mean, that was a real football team, and, we got some things to clean up. But it was good to see, getting press man. We haven't got to see that this year. Letting our outside receivers work and let them be playmakers.
How easy is it for you when you've got Jacoby that you can know that you can give him an outlet and he can do magic?
Yeah, it's a great feeling. He him out of the backfield, run, pass, it doesn't matter. He was very explosive out of the backfield with the routes, but running the ball too. He's so elusive. He's quick in the holes, makes good decisions, great in pass pro. So it's good to have, two young backs that can feed off each other. When one has a big drive, the next one's going to come in. It's a good 1-2 punch for sure.
Jacoby, what's the one thing that you're happy about this game tonight, and what do you still feel like you need to work on?
I'm happy with everything. I'm really happy how we came out, with the rain delay happening and stuff like that. So I'm happy how we came out and played. But, we just got to work on everything. It's everything we need to fix. There's just a little thing, so.
Baron, you faced a decent amount of pressure tonight. How do you feel like you responded on that interception? Can you kind of talk us through that?
Yeah, we're in the low red. I got greedy. We got some pressure. 1-2 wasn't there. I thought they were in man. I thought he was going to stay on his guy. Put way too much air underneath it. Try to give CD a high ball in the back end zone. But should have just, probably got to a different play. But at the end of the day, it was honestly good to see, like how we're going to respond. And, I thought we did a great job. Like Kobe said with the rain delay too, like there's a lot of things that went, not our way. And, I thought we did a great job coming out fast and doing a good job.
Then you guys haven't been in a close game situation yet. Obviously going into conference play, going into number 20 Utah, that's more expected. How do you guys feel like you're prepared adversity-wise?
Yeah, I think this team, is very, very, very close. And, when things get tough, we got a lot of leaders on both sides of the ball that are going to rally the guys around. We're got a great head coach. So we love when things go wrong. This is the kind of deal that, we thrive when adversity happens. We said we have a lot of pressure coming into the season. I think we're doing a good job of ignoring that outside noise and just playing our kind of brand of football.
And then for both of y'all, Coach McGuire was kind of saying that Coach Leftwich is pretty mellow-headed on the sideline, besides maybe a fist bump when a touchdown. How much does that help y'all to have a coach that doesn't really get affected by the emotions of a game and can just be there for y'all?
Yeah, it's great. Coming off the sideline, we got on the iPad, good, bad drive. Coach Leftwich does a good job of just staying level-headed. He keeps me in a good mental state. Good play. He's saying what's next. We got to stay on him. But he's awesome for how young he is and how mature he handles himself on the sideline. And Coach Lindsey too. All the guys. Just really good people.
Like B said, he keeps us level-headed, and he when we make mistakes, he just comes to us and gets us to what's next. So I like that about him.
This is a question for both of you guys. What went on in the locker room during that lengthy rain delay? And how key was that for you guys to have the start coming out of the rain delay to say, hey, we're right back where we want to be?
Yeah, it's not our first time being in a rain delay, sadly. But, I thought, the guys did a good job. We were off our feet. They say, all right, the next 15 minutes, we think we're going to be out there. So we're getting up, we're starting to warm up, and they're like, all right, another 45. But I'm really proud of our guys of staying locked in. When Coach said, all right, it's time to go now, we all got fired up. Like the locker room was juiced. We were playing music. Everyone was getting rowdy. But that speaks highly of our team and, what's next mentality.
Kind of for the both of you, but Coach said it multiple times. He feels like this team has another gear. How important is it to get to that next gear as you get ready to take on a team like Utah?
Yeah, I think, the start of conference is going to be a big test to, this team. I think we've done a good job the last 3 games. But now, the real football starts. What we want, this is our time to, play the brand of football that we want to play. So, Coach McGuire does a great job of getting us ready. There's no ifs, ands, or buts on that. But at the end of the day, it's still football. Just put the ball down and go play.
And then the second one I had is you've kind of touched on it a little bit for the both of you. But rain delay was hard, obviously, but you had 2 in the non-conference. Through this non-conference slate, what is the things that you've learned most about this football team?
You want to go?
Really, just not, to get, hot-headed. When we up by a lot, stay level-headed and stay locked in. So I feel like we did a good job of doing that, and we just going to keep it going.
Hey, guys, how y'all doing?
Good.
Baron, first 3 games, the first 2 games you seen, obviously the competition one isn't quite as what you saw tonight. How would you grade yourself, and would you have called this game more of a greedy game for you as a quarterback or more of a need kind of game for you?
I wouldn't say really either. I think at the end of the day, my job is to get the ball to playmakers. And, at the end of the day, you saw our outside receivers when they played press man. We're hard to stop. There's a lot of guys to cover. If you want to heat us up, we got this guy out of the backfield. So, it's a really fun offense, but at the end of the day, I don't think my job at the end of the day is just to get the ball to playmakers, let them do the work.
And what was it like for you able to get Caleb Douglas involved? In the first 2 games, he's kind of been, off the radar for a while. How good was it for him to get that touchdown early?
Yeah, it was awesome. As soon as we threw it, we were in the end zone celebrating. I said, uh-oh, 5's back. So, we have so many weapons. It's still early in the season. We got a lot of football to play, but really pleased with the way our receiver core played.
Jacoby, this is for you. In the second quarter, you're able to take that pass up the sideline for a touchdown. Can you kind of walk us through that play as it happened and developed in front of you?
It's a screen, so I got out there and I seen Pond was in front of me, so I had to slow down, set the blockers up, and just finished it from there.
Baron, you've had so many deep throw. You and Will have had so many deep throw touchdowns in these first 3 games. Obviously, you have a lot of new skill position personnel. Outside of just the new personnel, what do you think is the main reason for y'all's success with the deep ball?
Yeah, I think that's big props to Coach Leftwich and the schemes that he has. But the biggest thing is our O-line. We finally got a chemistry going up front. They're picking up IDs out there, and you hear them talking, and I haven't heard that in a couple of years. So, it's really cool to see, Sheridan Wilson rally those guys, Howard Sampson, DC, Will Jados, Ponton. They're all doing a great job. And, they're giving me time. And if I have time, it's going to be bad for the defense because we got way too many playmakers for the ball to be, screen right, screen left. We got playmakers, so let's go take shots.
Talk a little bit about Terrence Carter and just when you turn him loose, like on that little tunnel screen, and you got a 250-pound guy running through the middle.
He's a freak of nature. I've not ever seen a tight end move as smoothly and as fast as he can. We can widen him out, just like we're in 10 personnel, and him in the slot. And we can run, slot fades. We can run digs. We can run outs. It's not just he's a tight end. Let's put the big boy ball up high. Like he can run real routes. And so to have that, and JC too. JC made a phenomenal catch on the sideline to keep the chains going. That goes back to, just having that deep receiver core and tight end group.
Jacoby, kind of a funny question here. There's one of the plays where you're kind of crowd surfing, and if you didn't touch the ground because they carried you for like 2 or 3 yards. You remember that?
I remember that.
What was that one? What was that like?
I was just trying to get the first down or where it was going, and I just, felt my feet come off the ground. I'm just in the air, so ain't really much I could do.
All right, we'll go to the defensive guys next.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Bryce, has this defense shown what it is capable of yet?
I think so. I think we have a lot more to show and a lot more to prove. So I think we started out good this season, and we just got a lot more work to do too. So, yeah.
What was going through your mind on that reaching out for that diving interception?
Yeah, so I saw number 7. He was like trying to just like lure me to sleep. So I was like, let me just make sure it's not some like fake play or nothing. So I stayed on him, and I saw the ball, and I had to go get it. So I did that.
Cole, what is so special about this defense and how tight it is, and what do you see after non-conference?
I think, firstly, we have a lot of very talented guys up front. I mean, they made our days pretty uneventful the first couple games. I think, 1, that's huge. 2, we've got guys with really high motors who want to get to the football, which is ginormous in college football. Someone misses a tackle, having 10 guys pursuing the football at a high rate is crucial, and we have that. And then, thirdly, there's us as a team. Like, we're starting to really form great bonds and love for one another. And when you have love for the guys next to you out there, and you really care about your teammates, you're going to get to another gear to make sure that points stay off the board. So we've got a high level of love on this back end of this defense, and it's only going to continue to grow as the season goes on.
How you guys doing? Cole, you've played championship football before at North Dakota State. How does this team compare to one of those teams that you've played with up north, and what similarities do they have, and what do you see out of this team?
Yeah, I think the one thing that you recognize on championship teams, and this has just kind of been my observations and years that we won it, years that we didn't win it, is, well, 1, like running the football, but 2 is like having guys who put in the work, and you don't hear complaining. On championship teams, like no one's complaining. They just know that the work needs to be done, and they do it. And the guys who are leaders on this team, you're not going to hear complaints come out of their mouth. They're going to get the work done. And that's huge, because if a bad play happens, it's not going to be like negative out there. It's going to be, all right, what's next? How do we handle it? What's the next call? What can we do to make sure that we respond the best way possible? And I think that we have that as a team, and it's only going to continue to grow as the year goes on. And it'll be tested. The more adversity we see, the more it'll show what kind of team we really are. But I think today, they had a couple long drives, and we did a good job of just what's next, handling it, and keeping points off the board with the first group.
And this question's for both you guys. Obviously, the first 2 games, you guys didn't play beyond the first half. This game, you guys finally got into the third quarter, able to play. How are you both feeling? And then how are you guys taking what you guys learned from today into Utah coming up?
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just feeling more comfortable that we finally got to play like a full game. So I know I can do it next week if we have to, which we're probably going to have to. So it felt good just getting out there, being able to make plays, celebrate with my teammates. It felt great, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, my body feels great as well. First couple games, I barely recorded stats because it was just such a quick game in and game out. I think the first game had 32 plays, was only around the ball once. 22 plays in the second game, around the ball once. So, again, just a game like today is definitely a great step in preparing for what's to come in conference play, because there's going to be teams, once you get in the conference play, everybody wants it, and it's geared up a notch because these are teams you see every year. Yeah, it was a perfect transition game for us to be able to play 3 full quarters of football, be able to be tested a little bit. That's huge too, because you don't want the first time getting punched in the mouth to be in a conference game. So that was huge for us to be able to go out there, grind out some long drives, and show some resolve as a defense.
The success of your run game has made some of these teams pretty one-dimensional. How does that change your approach to the game as the time progresses?
Talking about like stopping the run. Yeah, I mean, it's huge, because once we can stop the run, we got monsters up front, and those guys can run their pass games, run their one-on-ones. Like, there's not many guys harder to block in the country than Romello Height one-on-one off the edge. Like, it's just he's a beast. He's very good at it. He practices it all the time. Coaches do a great job. Coach IU does a great job of staying on them, helping them with their craft too. So once that can happen, those guys can really go hunt. And quarterbacks have trouble getting to their second, third progressions because they have 3 seconds to throw the ball on third and long.
How does that change your approach in the secondary when you're having to, know that he's going to be throwing it real quick? You're not playing that zone for as long. You're having to be aware of where that second progression is immediately.
It changes a lot. Like, it helps me. Like, I love my D-line, honestly. And, like, it just allows you to, the ball's coming out fast, so you can sit on routes like a little more, and obviously you can't just depend on them to get there every time, but it definitely helps your technique a lot more. You can trust yourself to break. You don't got to worry about certain stuff like double moves all the time because they don't really have time for stuff like that. So it really does help a lot. So we like just play off each other, you know.
And then can you guys describe Sheil Wood as a coach on the sideline? I know he's pretty amped up during, pregame and stuff like that, but McGuire said that he's a more level-headed guy and he's not really affected by the emotions of the game.
Yeah, very analytical. I mean, he's processing the game as it's going on. He's helping. He's very, very. I think it's the best thing you can have out of a DC is to be able to take and adjust to what the offense gives us and make those transitions and not get too high, too low, but be able to keep a steady level. So that way when stuff goes good, we're not getting overwhelmed and too caught up on that. But then when stuff goes bad, it's the same level. Like we're on to the next play. So it keeps the consistency through both the good and the bad. And he does a great job of making adjustments as the game goes on to see where they're attacking us and see how we can fix it.
Any final questions? One more.
Just as new guys on the team, just what has the atmosphere been like for Lubbock 3 games in for both of you guys, and how do you guys feel Lubbock has welcomed you?
I love Lubbock and I love Texas Tech. I love the fans. Everybody's so welcoming, and yeah, the energy is amazing. Like I love the game day atmosphere. I love how there's nowhere to park, like all that stuff. Like I love everything about Lubbock. So I really do.
Yeah, the game days have been special to see everyone showing out. I think that first Raider walk we did is when it really hit me like, oh, there's a lot of people here. And unfortunately, we haven't had Kent State, I guess we did kind of have a full game still, but it was an early game. 2 rain delays have kind of canceled out some of the fun. But, I mean, even for people to stay there, 2-hour weather delays, and they're still there. That's huge, and I appreciate that so much. But I think what we get inside this facility at Tech is so special, and I'm so appreciative of it. Yeah, like Bryce said, I absolutely love it. And I think the more and more it's just coming so natural, just loving everything that I have here because they've done so much for us as athletes, as players, as individuals, as students, and really helped change our lives and the trajectory of our lives. And they pour into us as young men too. So.
Cole, you talked about these first couple games. Your name really hasn't shown up in the stat sheet that much. From your perspective, when you have a defense that good enough to where you don't really have to get in on every tackle, what do you do to still try and contribute to help them?
Yeah, for sure. When games like those ones happen, you just got to keep in your process every single play. You got to keep on your reads every single time. Like just like you asked the question about Coach Wood earlier, I can't get too high, get too low at any point in the game, and the same thing's happening when I'm not getting much action because at some point there's gonna be a play that comes to me. But to really just continue to bring juice in the game, like I'll be in the post and Scholar gets a sack, like I'm going to be sprinting from 25 yards out of the post to go celebrate with him, to continue to bring juice to the team and to be out there. But yeah, just continue to do my job really, and ultimately is what it is because that's all it's asked me of this defense is to do that job in that single play. So that's all I can do.
Just building off that, you speak highly of the chemistry across the team and Coach Wood. What is this communication, just the play calling in general? What has that been like when translating to on the field?
Coach does a great job in practice stressing us. He'll hold the call. He'll have the scout team lined up, and he'll give it to us literally sometimes as the ball's getting snapped, it feels like. And that's huge for games because then he can, if we get the call in late, like that's what the norm is, and that's what we're used to. But yeah, he does a great job with making sure that we're all communicating, and I think there's times today where we need to communicate better still, and that's on me as well, especially. But yeah, and just echoing that stuff too, making sure that when we get on the sideline, like, hey, you guys need to communicate out there. It's been great.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.